The silent signal. Sarah Chen stared at the anomalous readings on her monitor at the SETI research station in New Mexico. After 15 years of scanning the skies for extraterrestrial signals, she'd seen her share of false positives. But this was different. The pattern pulsed with an unmistakable mathematical precision that made her heart race. "Dr. Reynolds," she called out, her voice echoing through the quiet facility. "You need to see this." The aging director shuffled over, coffee mug in hand. His eyes widened as he studied the screen. "My God," he whispered, "it's not random noise." The signal followed prime numbers in sequence, repeating every 127 seconds. No natural phenomenon could produce such a pattern. As Sarah ran it through various analysis programs, more patterns emerged: geometric sequences, mathematical constants, and finally, what appeared to be a simple binary code. "It's an invitation," Sarah announced after 3 days of non-stop analysis. The small team gathered around her workstation as she explained. "They're sharing coordinates. Not just spatial coordinates, but temporal ones. They want to meet." The next few weeks passed in a blur of government officials, military personnel, and endless debriefings. Sarah found herself thrust into the center of humanity's first confirmed contact with an alien civilization. The signal had provided precise coordinates for a location in the Arizona desert, along with a specific date and time 3 months in the future. "We can't just show up and hope for the best," General Matthews argued during yet another planning session. "This could be a trap." "If they wanted to harm us, they could have done so already," Sarah countered. "The technology required to send this signal, they're far more advanced than we are. This is deliberate. They're giving us time to prepare, to decide. They're being cautious." As the designated date approached, a small facility was constructed at the coordinates. Sarah insisted on being part of the welcome team, despite objections from military leadership. "I decoded their message," she stated firmly. "I should be there." The night before the scheduled contact, Sarah sat alone in her temporary quarters, reviewing the signal data one more time. The mathematical elegance of it still took her breath away. Whoever these beings were, they thought in patterns, in pure logic. Yet there was something almost playful in how they'd structured the message, like a teacher creating a puzzle just challenging enough to engage their students. Dawn broke over the desert with a spectacular display of orange and purple. Sarah stood with the assembled team, a mix of scientists, military personnel, and government officials. Her heart pounded as the designated time approached. At exactly 700 hours, the air began to shimmer like a heat mirage. A soft hum filled the air, more felt than heard. Then, with a grace that defied physics, a vessel appeared. It was neither large nor intimidating, roughly the size of a small bus, with smooth, curved lines that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. A seam appeared in the side of the craft, widening into an opening. Sarah held her breath as a figure emerged. The being was tall and slender, with silvery skin that seemed to shift colors in the morning light. Its large, expressive eyes scanned the assembled humans before settling on Sarah. To everyone's astonishment, it spoke in perfect English. "Greetings, Dr. Sarah Chen. We have been watching your species for some time. Your personal dedication to understanding the cosmos has not gone unnoticed." Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Welcome to Earth. We've been hoping to meet you." The being's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. "We know. That is why we chose now to make contact. Your species stands at a crucial junction. The choices you make in the coming years will determine not just your fate, but the fate of countless others across the galaxy." A murmur ran through the assembled humans. Sarah felt a weight settle onto her shoulders. This wasn't just first contact. This was a test, humanity's first real test. "We're ready to listen," she said, straightening her spine, "and to learn." The being nodded approvingly. "That, Dr. Chen, is precisely why we're here. The signal you decoded was merely the beginning. Now, shall we begin the real conversation?" As Sarah followed the alien into their vessel, she couldn't help but smile. After 15 years of searching the skies, she hadn't just found evidence of alien life, she'd found teachers, potential allies. And somehow, she knew this was just the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure. Little did they know, this meeting would set in motion a chain of events that would challenge everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe and test the very limits of human ingenuity and determination. The Cosmic Library. Inside the alien vessel, Sarah found herself in what appeared to be a vast chamber that defied the craft's external dimensions. The walls rippled with living light, displaying star charts and mathematical equations that shifted and flowed like water. The being, who introduced itself as Zar-El, gestured to what looked like floating seats that materialized from the floor. "Please make yourself comfortable. What we have to share may take some time to process." General Matthews and Dr. Reynolds, who had followed them inside, exchanged nervous glances before sitting. The seats adjusted perfectly to human physiology, providing a strange but comfortable support. "Your species has been asking the wrong questions," Zar-El began, waving a slender hand. The chamber filled with holographic images of Earth's various space programs, radio telescopes, and scientific achievements. "You've been looking for life among the stars, when in fact, life has been looking at you." Sarah leaned forward, fascinated. "What do you mean?" "Earth sits at a unique junction point of several interdimensional corridors," Zar-El explained. "Think of it as a cosmic library card catalog. Your planet's position makes it invaluable for navigation and study. We are librarians, custodians of knowledge across multiple galaxies." The revelation hit Sarah like a physical force. "You're saying Earth is important to the galaxy?" "More than you know. Your planet's unique position allows for the study of numerous cosmic phenomena. But more importantly, your species has shown remarkable potential. Your creativity, your resilience, your ability to adapt and overcome. These qualities are rare in the universe." General Matthews cleared his throat. "If we're so important, why contact us now? Why not earlier?" Zar-El's expression became serious. "Because now you face a crisis. Your technological advancement has outpaced your spiritual and social evolution. You stand at a crossroads. One path leads to self-destruction, the other to joining a greater community of civilizations." The chamber's walls shifted again, showing images of Earth's environmental degradation, war zones, and advancing climate change. But alongside these, images of human achievement appeared: medical breakthroughs, renewable energy innovations, space exploration. "We propose an exchange," Zar-El continued. "We will share knowledge, carefully, at a pace your species can handle. In return, you will help us understand something unique to humans: your ability to make intuitive leaps, to see patterns where others see chaos." Dr. Reynolds adjusted his glasses. "You're saying you want to learn from us, but you're so far advanced." "Technology is not everything," Zar-El replied. "Your species possesses something rare: the ability to dream, to imagine possibilities beyond logical progression. This creativity, it's valuable beyond measure." Sarah felt a surge of pride. Here was an advanced alien civilization, not coming to conquer or dominate, but to learn and share. "What's the catch?" she asked, knowing there had to be more. Zar-El's skin shifted colors slightly, showing what might have been appreciation for her directness. "The catch, as you say, is that this knowledge comes with responsibility. We need Earth to become a new branch of the Cosmic Library, a place where species from across the galaxy can come to study and learn." "You want to turn Earth into some kind of interstellar university?" General Matthews asked incredulously. "In simple terms, yes, but it must be your choice. Your species must prove ready for such responsibility." Sarah's mind raced with the implications. Earth, becoming a center of galactic learning and exchange. The possibilities were staggering, but so were the challenges. "How long do we have to decide?" she asked. "1 Earth year," Zar-El replied. "During this time, We will provide small demonstrations of what this exchange could mean. Your task is to prove you can handle such knowledge responsibly. As if to demonstrate, Zahel touched one of the floating displays. Suddenly, Sarah understood the solution to a quantum physics problem that had puzzled scientists for decades. The knowledge simply appeared in her mind, clear as day. That, Zahel said, is just a taste of what awaits. But remember, with knowledge comes great responsibility. As they prepared to leave the vessel, Sarah turned to Zahel. Why me? Why choose me as the primary contact? The alien's expression softened. Because you never stopped looking up at the stars with wonder. In all our observations, those who maintain their sense of wonder while pursuing knowledge are the ones most suited to handle it wisely. Walking back into the desert sun, Sarah felt the weight of what had just transpired. Earth wasn't just another planet in a vast universe, it was a crucial piece in a cosmic puzzle, and humanity had 1 year to prove they deserved their place in it. The real challenge was just beginning. How do you prepare a species for a role they never knew they were destined to play? The global challenge. The news of alien contact spread across the globe like wildfire. Despite attempts to keep the details classified, leaked footage of the alien vessel appeared on social media within hours. The world's reaction was predictably chaotic, a mixture of fear, excitement, skepticism, and hope. Sarah found herself thrust into the spotlight as humanity's unofficial ambassador to the stars. Speaking before the United Nations, she explained the situation as clearly as she could. We have 1 year, she told the assembled world leaders. 1 year to prove we're ready to become part of something greater than ourselves. The librarians aren't interested in our resources or our territory. They want our minds, our creativity, our unique way of seeing the universe. Then came the first test. 3 months after initial contact, mysterious objects appeared simultaneously in major cities across the globe. They were perfect black cubes, each exactly 1 meter on each side, completely immovable and impervious to all scanning technology. The cubes are puzzles, Zahel explained during their weekly communication session. Each contains knowledge that could benefit humanity, but only if you work together to unlock them. You have 1 month. The world's greatest scientists, mathematicians, and problem solvers gathered in their respective cities to study the cubes. Traditional approaches proved useless. No amount of physical or technological analysis revealed their secrets. Sarah noticed something peculiar about the cube in New York. When viewed from certain angles, it seemed to reflect not the surroundings, but random images. A child's drawing, a piece of music, a dance performance. It's not a scientific puzzle, she realized suddenly. It's an artistic one. Her insights sparked a global shift in approach. Instead of just scientists, teams began including artists, musicians, dancers, and children. The cubes responded to creativity, to emotional expression, to the uniquely human ability to find beauty in chaos. In Tokyo, a young girl's impromptu dance near the cube caused it to emit a soft humming tone. In Mumbai, a street artist's mural painted around the cube made parts of its surface become transparent. Each breakthrough came not from calculation or analysis, but from intuition and artistic expression. Don't you see? Sarah explained to a frustrated General Matthews. They're not testing our scientific knowledge. They're testing our ability to think outside conventional boundaries, to combine logic with creativity. The breakthrough came with just 3 days left in the challenge. A global collaborative effort had discovered that each cube responded to a different form of human artistic expression. When all cubes were activated simultaneously through a coordinated display of music, dance, visual art, and storytelling, they dissolved into shimmering clouds of information. The knowledge contained within was revolutionary but carefully chosen: cures for several diseases, clean energy technology, and methods for removing pollution from the atmosphere. Nothing that could be weaponized, but everything humanity desperately needed. You understand now, Zahel said during the next communication. The greatest discoveries come not from pure logic or pure creativity, but from their synthesis. This is what makes humans unique in the galaxy. But not everyone was celebrating. Sarah began receiving reports of governments attempting to monopolize the new technologies, of corporations trying to patent the medical breakthroughs. The very human tendency toward greed and competition threatened to undermine their success. This too is part of the test, Zar-El explained when Sarah expressed her concerns. Knowledge means nothing without wisdom in its application. How your species handles these gifts will determine your readiness for the next phase. Sarah understood the deeper lesson. The librarians weren't just testing humanity's ability to solve puzzles or make discoveries. They were testing their capacity to grow beyond their limitations, to rise above their baser instincts. Working with Dr. Reynolds and a team of international diplomats, Sarah helped establish the Global Knowledge Exchange Initiative. Its mission was to ensure that the benefits of alien knowledge would be shared equally among all nations. It wasn't an easy sell, but the alternative, failing the librarian's test and losing this historic opportunity, proved to be a powerful motivator. You know, Dr. Reynolds said one evening as they watched the sun set over the desert facility, I used to think first contact would be about technology or biology. I never imagined it would be about art and cooperation. Sarah smiled, remembering her own preconceptions about alien contact. Maybe that's exactly why we needed it to happen this way. We've got the technology to destroy ourselves or save ourselves. What we needed was a reminder of what makes us human in the first place. As the first test concluded, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that it had been almost too perfect, challenging enough to require global cooperation, but not so difficult as to be impossible, like a well-designed teaching exercise. What would the next test bring? And more importantly, was humanity really ready for its new role in the cosmos? The answer, she suspected, would depend not on their ability to solve alien puzzles, but on their willingness to solve their own hidden truths. 6 months into humanity's probationary period, the first cracks began to show. While the public face of the Global Knowledge Exchange Initiative remained optimistic, Sarah discovered troubling developments behind the scenes. Late one night, while reviewing data from the latest librarian communication, she received an encrypted message from Dr. Reynolds. Meet me at the old observatory. Come alone. Trust no one. The ancient observatory outside of town had been abandoned years ago, its equipment outdated by newer facilities. Sarah found her mentor waiting in the darkened dome, his usual cheerful demeanor replaced by grim determination. We've been compromised, he said without preamble, pulling out a tablet. Someone's been secretly copying and modifying the librarian's shared knowledge. Look at this. The tablet showed technical specifications for what appeared to be weapons, designs that incorporated elements of the clean energy technology the librarians had shared, but twisted into something deadly. Who? Sarah asked, her throat tight. A consortium of private military contractors, backed by several governments. They're calling it the Human Defense Initiative. They don't trust the librarians, or they're using that distrust as an excuse to develop new weapons. Sarah felt sick. This was exactly what the librarians had feared, humanity using their knowledge for destruction rather than growth. We have to tell Zar-El. That's not all, Dr. Reynolds continued. I've been analyzing the original signal that brought them here. There are layers we missed, Sarah. The librarians aren't just testing us, they're warning us. He pulled up another set of data, this time showing astronomical observations. Something's coming, something big. I think the librarians know about it, and that's why they're pushing us so hard to evolve quickly. Before Sarah could respond, the observatory door burst open. Armed figures in black tactical gear swarmed in, weapons raised. General Matthews stepped through them, his face a mask of cold determination. Dr. Chen, Dr. Reynolds, you're being detained under the National Security Act. We'll need you to come with us. Sarah's mind raced. General, what you're doing, it's going to ruin everything we've worked for. The librarians will know. The librarians, Matthews spat, are keeping secrets from us. We're not just going to sit back and hope they have our best interests at heart. Humanity needs to be ready to defend itself. That's what they're trying to help us do, Sarah protested. But not through weapons, through knowledge, through growth. Take them, Matthews ordered. In that moment, several things happened at once. The observatory dome began to glow with an inner light. The armed guards' weapons suddenly disassembled themselves, falling harmlessly to the floor, and Zar-El stepped out of thin air. "We had hoped it wouldn't come to this," the alien said, its voice carrying a note of sadness. "But perhaps it's better to have these fears and doubts in the open." Matthews stepped back, his face pale. "How long have you been watching?" "We never stopped watching," Zar-El replied. "Just as we never stopped hoping you would choose a better path." The alien turned to Sarah. "It's time you knew the whole truth." The observatory dome transformed into a vast stellar display. "What your colleague discovered is correct. A great darkness approaches, not just Earth, but this entire sector of space. An ancient species that consumes civilizations, not through violence, but through fear. They turn species against themselves, seeding paranoia and distrust until civilizations collapse from within." Sarah watched in horror as the display showed world after world falling into chaos and destruction. "The weapons your people are developing," Zar-El continued, "they are exactly what this enemy wants. Every civilization that tried to fight them with traditional weapons fell the hardest." "Then how do we fight them?" Matthews demanded. "With unity, with creativity, with the very qualities that make humanity unique." Zar-El's form shifted, becoming more luminous. "The cosmic library isn't just a repository of knowledge. It's a network of civilizations working together to find solutions that transcend traditional warfare." Dr. Reynolds stepped forward. "That's why you chose Earth. Because we're naturally creative problem solvers." "Precisely. Your species has a remarkable ability to think laterally, to find unexpected solutions. But you must move past your fear of the unknown, your distrust of each other. The real test was never about solving puzzles or unlocking knowledge. It was about growing beyond your limitations." Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders. Finally, everything made sense. The nature of the tests, the type of knowledge being shared, the emphasis on cooperation and creativity. "So what happens now?" she asked. "Now," Zar-El said, "you make a choice. We can remove all knowledge we've shared, leave Earth to face what's coming alone. Or you can commit, truly commit, to becoming something greater than you are." The armed guards had backed away, their faces showing confusion and fear. Matthews stood rigid, conflict evident in his expression. "It's not too late," Sarah said softly. "We can choose a different path." The fate of humanity hung in the balance, waiting for them to decide. Would they let fear drive them to destruction, or would they find the courage to embrace a greater destiny? Humanity's stand. The revelation of the approaching threat and the exposure of humanity's secret weapons program created shockwaves throughout the global community. Emergency sessions of the UN Security Council were called, protests erupted outside military installations, and the world teetered on the brink of chaos. Sarah found herself at the center of it all, working tirelessly to prevent everything from falling apart. With Zar-El's permission, she organized a worldwide broadcast to share what they'd learned about the true nature of the crisis facing Earth. "We're not just fighting an external threat," she explained to billions of viewers. "We're fighting our own worst instincts. The enemy coming for us doesn't need weapons. They use fear itself to destroy civilizations." The librarians provided evidence of their claims, showing recordings of other worlds that had faced this threat. Some had fallen into paranoid self-destruction, while others had simply given up, their will to resist broken by carefully engineered social collapse. But something unexpected happened. Instead of sparking more fear and panic, the revelation seemed to awaken something in the human spirit. People began organizing, not to build bunkers or stockpile weapons, but to create solutions. Artists and scientists started collaborating on new ways to strengthen community bonds. Engineers and philosophers worked together to design systems that promoted cooperation over competition. Children in schools across the world began sending messages of hope and unity to each other, transcending language barriers through art and music. "This is what we were hoping to see," Zahel told Sarah during a global council meeting. "Your species has an extraordinary capacity for adaptation and growth when properly motivated." General Matthews, who had been temporarily relieved of his command, but asked to continue working with the project in an advisory capacity, spoke up. "I still don't understand how art and cooperation are supposed to stop an invasion." Zahel's form shimmered with what Sarah had come to recognize as amusement. "Tell me, General, how do you fight an enemy that uses fear as a weapon?" "With courage," Matthews replied automatically. And where does courage come from? Not from weapons or walls, but from hope, from connection, from the belief that there is something worth fighting for. Your art, your music, your stories, they are not mere entertainment. They are the tools that build and strengthen the human spirit. The librarians began sharing more targeted knowledge, not weapon designs or defense systems, but technologies that enhanced communication, that helped people understand and empathize with each other across cultural and linguistic barriers. They taught humanity how to strengthen their mental defenses against fear and manipulation. Sarah worked with a team of psychologists and neuroscientists to implement these new technologies. They discovered that human brains were uniquely suited to resist the kind of psychological warfare the enemy employed, if properly trained and united. "It's like developing a mental immune system," Dr. Reynolds explained during a briefing. "But it only works if we maintain strong social bonds. Isolation and fear make us vulnerable." As the one-year mark approached, humanity faced its greatest test yet. The first signs of the enemy's influence began to appear, subtle attempts to pit nations against each other, to rekindle old conflicts and prejudices. But this time, they were ready. When a manipulated video threatened to spark conflict between two nuclear powers, an international network of artists and truth seekers worked together to expose the deception and replace it with messages of unity. When fear-inducing signals began affecting population centers, they were countered with massive public art installations and music festivals that brought people together in displays of human creativity and connection. "Do you understand now?" Zahel asked Sarah as they watched one such festival from the librarian vessel. "Your weapons against this enemy are not bombs or guns, but your ability to create, to connect, to inspire hope in the face of darkness." Sarah nodded, watching as thousands of people below joined in a spontaneous dance, their combined movement forming patterns that pulsed with life and joy. "We're not just fighting against something," she realized. "We're fighting for something, for our humanity itself." The librarian's vessel had become a permanent fixture in the sky above Earth, a visible reminder of humanity's connection to a larger cosmic community. But more importantly, it was a symbol of hope, proof that advanced civilizations could choose cooperation over conflict, wisdom over warfare. As the final weeks of their probationary period approached, Sarah felt a growing sense of optimism. Humanity hadn't just survived the tests, they had transformed themselves in the process. The question was, would it be enough to face what was coming? The answer would soon become clear, as the darkness at the edge of their solar system began to stir. The final stand. The enemy arrived not with explosive force or military might, but with whispers. Dark thoughts began plaguing people's dreams. Children reported seeing shadows move against the laws of physics. The very fabric of reality seemed to tremor with malevolent purpose. "They're here," Sarah announced to the Global Defense Council, now comprising military leaders, artists, scientists, and spiritual leaders from every nation. "The darkness the librarians warned us about has reached our solar system." The first direct attack came in the form of mass hallucinations. Millions simultaneously experienced their worst fears made manifest. But humanity had prepared for this. Within hours, a network of artists and psychologists deployed what they called hope bombs, concentrated bursts of positive mental energy, amplified by the librarian's technology and human creativity. Remember, Sarah broadcast to emergency response teams worldwide. They feed on isolation and fear. Stay connected, keep creating, don't let the darkness find purchase in your mind. Dr. Reynolds, working from a specially designed mental warfare center, coordinated global resistance efforts. The enemy's trying to fragment us, to break our unified response. But look at this. He pointed to a display showing neural activity across the planet. Humanity's literally thinking as one mind for the first time in history. The darkness, sensing this unprecedented unity, changed tactics. It began targeting key individuals, leaders, artists, innovators. Sarah herself experienced visions so terrifying they left her gasping for air. But she wasn't alone. The mental support network they built kicked in immediately, thousands of minds linking with hers, sharing strength, offering hope. General Matthews, who had become one of their strongest advocates after his earlier change of heart, organized what he called creativity militias, groups dedicated to maintaining morale through art, music, and storytelling even in the face of psychological assault. "Never thought I'd say this," he admitted to Sarah during a brief respite, "but you were right. The best defense isn't a bigger weapon, it's a stronger spirit." The darkness pressed harder, trying to find weak points in humanity's mental armor. But at each turn, it found humans adapting, creating, connecting in new ways. Street artists painted murals that seemed to glow with inner light, dispelling shadows. Musicians composed pieces that resonated with the exact frequency needed to disrupt the enemy's fear-inducing signals. Then came the moment that would be remembered in human history as the synchronized dawn, as the darkness launched its most powerful attack yet, attempting to shatter the human psyche with visions of cosmic horror. Something extraordinary happened. Without any central coordination, people across the globe began to sing. It started in small groups and spread like wildfire. Different songs in different languages, but all harmonizing, creating a wave of pure human expression that rippled across the planet. The librarian's senses recorded what happened next. The darkness, confronted with this wall of unified human consciousness, began to recoil. It had never encountered a species that could remain so fundamentally connected while maintaining their individual creativity. "Now," Zahel commanded through the global network, "push them back with everything you have." Sarah felt it, the largest coordinated mental effort in human history. Artists, scientists, soldiers, children, all focusing their thoughts, their hopes, their dreams into a single purpose. The librarian's technology amplified this unified consciousness, turning it into a weapon of pure creative force. The darkness, for the first time in its ancient existence, knew fear. It had evolved to feed on fear, to corrupt and isolate. But faced with a species that could turn unity and creativity into a shield and a sword, it found itself defenseless. The battle for Earth lasted 3 days. 3 days of constant mental warfare, of humanity pushing back against cosmic horror with art, music, dance, and sheer indomitable will. When it was over, the darkness had fled, leaving behind only rapidly dissipating shadows. In the aftermath, as people emerged from their shelters, something had changed. Humans looked at each other differently, with new understanding and respect. They had faced extinction not through nuclear war or environmental disaster, but through fear itself, and they had won through unity and creativity. "You've exceeded all our expectations," Zahel told the assembled Global Council. "No species has ever repelled the darkness so completely. Your unique combination of individual creativity and collective action proved to be the perfect counter to their tactics." Sarah, exhausted but triumphant, looked out over the celebrating crowds. "So what happens now? Do we become part of the cosmic library?" Zahel's form shimmered with what might have been pride. "You already are. But more than that, you've become something else. Teachers. Other species will come to Earth, not just to learn facts and figures, but to learn how to face their fears, how to unite without losing individuality, how to create in the face of destruction. Human civilization had been transformed. The weapons factories now produced art supplies and musical instruments. The military focused on fostering creativity and connection rather than combat training. Schools taught mental defense through art and expression alongside traditional subjects. But most importantly, humanity had learned its greatest lesson. Their strength lay not in their ability to destroy, but in their capacity to create, to connect, to hope. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, not because they were the most powerful species, but because they were the most adaptable, the most creative, the most human. The stars no longer seemed like distant, cold points of light. They were beacons of possibility, promising new connections, new discoveries, new ways to create and grow. Humanity had found its place in the cosmos, not as conquerors or victims, but as teachers, creators, and guardians of hope. Legacy of Light. 10 years after humanity's victory over the darkness, Earth had become unrecognizable, yet more itself than ever before. The Global Knowledge Exchange Initiative had evolved into the Terran Academy of Cosmic Arts and Sciences, a sprawling complex that covered most of what was once the Sahara Desert, transformed into a living ecosystem of learning and creation. Sarah Chen, now serving as Earth's primary liaison to the galactic community, stood at the Academy's central observatory, watching as another alien ship descended. This one contained students from a crystalline species, coming to learn how art could strengthen consciousness against cosmic threats. "Hard to believe it's been a decade," Dr. Reynolds said, joining her at the window. Though elderly now, his eyes still sparkled with the same curiosity that had guided them through first contact. "Sometimes I wonder if we're dreaming," Sarah replied, watching as human children play with young aliens in the Academy's gardens below. "All this started because we kept looking up at the stars." The Academy had become famous across the galaxy, but not for the reasons anyone might have expected. While Earth did share technological knowledge through the Cosmic Library Network, their most sought-after export was something uniquely human: the ability to merge creativity with resilience, to find hope in darkness. General Matthews, who had transformed the world's military forces into what he called creative defense units, approached with a holographic report. "The latest data from the Galactic Border Patrols," he announced. "The darkness hasn't been detected in any monitored sectors for over 3 years." But their victory had taught humanity not to become complacent. Every child now learned not just reading and mathematics, but also mental defense through artistic expression. The annual Global Unity Festival had become a powerful demonstration of human consciousness, broadcasting waves of creativity and hope across the cosmos. "We've got something interesting in the deep space sensors," a young researcher called out. "It looks like singing." Sarah rushed to the console. The readings showed a complex pattern of energy, similar to what they'd seen during the battle with the darkness, but different. "It's another species," she realized. "They're reaching out the way we did, through art and unity." Within hours, Earth's finest minds were working to decode the signal. Artists interpreted its patterns into visual forms, musicians translated its frequencies into melody, and scientists analyzed its mathematical properties. This was humanity's strength now, the ability to approach problems from every angle, combining logic and creativity. "They're asking for help," Sarah announced when the translation was complete. "Their world is facing its own darkness, not our ancient enemy, but something similar. They saw what Earth did, and they want to learn." The Global Council, now including representatives from various alien species who had made Earth their home, convened to discuss the request. The decision was unanimous. Earth would answer the call. "But this time," Sarah told the council, "we go not just as teachers, but as students too. Every civilization has something to teach us about creativity and resilience." As preparations began for humanity's first mission to actively help another species, Sarah found herself back at the old SETI station where everything had started. The facility had been preserved as a museum. a reminder of humanity's journey from searching for signals to becoming a beacon of hope for the galaxy. "Did you know this would happen?" she asked Zar-El, who had become a close friend over the years. "When you first contacted us, did you see this potential in humanity?" The librarian's form shimmered thoughtfully. "We saw possibilities. But what you've become, teachers of hope, guardians of creativity, warriors of light, that was beyond even our imagining. You've created something new in the galaxy, a civilization that fights darkness not by becoming harder, but by shining brighter." The mission to help the distant civilization would mark a new chapter in human history. Earth had moved from being the student to being the teacher, yet never losing their capacity to learn and grow. As Sarah watched the sun set on this eve of humanity's next great adventure, she reflected on their journey. They had faced extinction and emerged not just surviving, but transformed. The very qualities that some had seen as human weaknesses, their emotions, their creativity, their diversity of thought, had proven to be their greatest strengths. "Ready for another adventure?" Dr. Reynolds asked, joining her with a telescope under his arm, not for scientific observation, but simply to admire the beauty of the cosmos. Sarah smiled, watching as the first stars appeared in the darkening sky. These points of light no longer represented distant mysteries to be solved, but connections to be made, stories to be shared, hope to be spread. "You know what's remarkable?" she said. "We spent so long looking for our place in the universe, never realizing that our greatest purpose would be helping others find theirs." As night fell, the Academy's grounds lit up with bioluminescent art installations, a testament to the merger of human creativity with alien knowledge. Children's laughter, both human and alien, echoed through the corridors. In orbit, the librarian's vessels twinkled like new stars, permanent partners in humanity's ongoing evolution. Earth had become what no one could have predicted, not just a library of cosmic knowledge, but a garden where hope and creativity flourished, spreading seeds of resilience across the galaxy. They have faced the darkness and learned that the strongest light comes not from a single brilliant source, but from countless small flames, burning together, each unique yet part of a greater whole. The future stretched before them, not as a path to follow, but as a canvas to create upon. Humanity had found its true calling, not to conquer the stars, but to fill them with light, one story, one song, one act of creation at a time.